So guys, the market's crashed over the weekend. Bitcoin fell below 100,000, but right now we're starting to see a little bit of a correction. We have some key events happening this week with pretty much the Iran and Israel fiasco, pretty much everyone responding to it. We have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking and a few other big events with data that's going to be coming out. On top of that, guys, specific zones with altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin dominance is really pointing to the fact that more than likely we're going to be seeing a little bit more deviations before the huge rip up, but there's a lot of mixed sentiment. So right now I want to give you guys exactly the news events that are going to be happening, the price action we're currently seeing, and what you need to be aware of. Overall though, if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and exactly the escalations that we see so that you can position yourself correctly. Right now, guys, like how I said, Iran and Israel fiasco is going through the roof after the US dropped some bombings on a few nuclear sites from Iran. As a result, waiting for Iran to retaliate. A lot of different things, guys, but this is why on this channel I keep you guys updated with all this info, so as it comes out, you're aware of what's going on and you don't get caught up in all the fluff from a big headline, from a big influencer or a cult. Overall though, with all that being said, guys, let's go and jump straight into it. So guys, like how I said, over the weekend we saw some crazy deviations. Bitcoin fell below 100,000, but now we're starting to see a little bit of green, a little bit of recovery moving into the start of the week. You can see Ethereum also seeing a little bit of recovery after seeing that massive deviation, almost falling below 2,000, which was going to be a really key zone, but we're starting to see a little bit of recovery. But is this going to be, continuing? Are we going to be seeing more consolidations? It's all based off of how liquidity is shifting and the macroeconomic events as well, guys. All coins are following the price action on Ethereum as well. You can see that they're seeing a little bit of recovery starting off Monday with all the headlines that are coming out, but right now we need to see exactly how the week is going to be closing out, not exactly just Monday, especially with more data that is going to be coming out this week. Bitcoin dominance, guys, has made a new all-time high this cycle, hitting around almost 66%, breaking the previous zone of 64.5%. So this is pretty much super bullish for, Bitcoin maxis that are all in Bitcoin, that are talking crap about altcoins. As a result, guys, people are calling for Bitcoin dominance to keep rallying. USDT dominance is also peaking, showing that liquidity is moving back into Bitcoin and stable coins. Everyone is unsure about what's going to be happening in the market, so no one is really investing into Ethereum and altcoins, which is right now the best time to be investing into altcoins, guys, when everything is capitulating. But moving into the key events that are going to be happening this week, we pretty much have the whole fiasco with Iran and Israel, and now also the strikes that the US has done on Iran. So today we're seeing the markets react to the US strikes on Iran and also retaliatory effects from Iran as well, when they're going to be striking back on United States bases. 2 is going to be May existing home sales data that's coming out tomorrow. Also, the June CB consumer confidence data comes out tomorrow. And then we also have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking not only tomorrow, but also on Wednesday. This is going to let us know a little bit of the insides of the Fed, what they're thinking, and anticipations around rate cuts. 5 is going to be the US Q1 2025 GDP data on Thursday. This is going to be some really important data, guys, to let us know if we're moving in the right direction. I saw some information from Ray DeLeo. I'm talking about how we're pretty much not on track to see some, good numbers in the U.S. economy, and how potentially we're on the verge of something very, very bad. And then from there, we also have the May PCE inflation data, which is also key, which is going to be on Friday, which is going to really let us know how we're going to close the week. So overall, volatility is set to return in the week ahead. So make sure you guys are prepared for this. And on the day-to-day, guys, I let you know what has came out and what you need to be aware of. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. But jumping into the Kobesi letter, we have been seeing escalations with the news events, with the whole war that is taking place, as well as overall how the Fed and a few other countries are responding based off of the conflict. There's a few different things I want to point you guys in the direction. Some of big news talking about how countries like Russia are talking about how supplying Iran with nuclear warheads. This is not a good perspective as well as update based off of exactly the conflicts and other countries that are getting intervened in it. There it is. The US bombed Iranian nuclear sites, and Iran's parliament just voted to close the Strait of Hormuz. Yet 15 hours after futures open, the S&P 500 futures are green and oil prices are red. If we told you Iran's parliament would vote to close Hormuz pending Iran's Security Council approval, which controls 20% of global oil and gas, and oil and natural gas prices would be down, you'll actually call us crazy. But that's exactly what just happened, with oil prices going up from 5% down to 0.2%, and natural gas prices down to 1.1%. And even as the U.S. appears to have joined the war against Iran and Trump calls for a regime change, gold prices are red. As we reiterated, the world is not on the brink of World War III. Markets continue to expect short-lived conflict. So this is a little bit of bullish sentiment showing that even though we're seeing all these bad headlines talking about how the U.S. just pretty much dropped a bomb on a few of Iran's nuclear sites, the markets aren't pricing this in. And as a result, guys, you need to focus on how smart money moves as opposed to stupid money, which is pretty much retail investors. Jumping more into it, we're seeing the White House says President Trump is still interested in a diplomatic solution with Iran. Keep following the market has been pricing in all along. And at the end of the day, guys, if Iran comes to the U.S. and we see, a diplomatic solution, it's going to be really great. But we just dropped some freaking bombs on Iran. You really think that they're going to want to just shake our hand? I don't think that's going to be the case. So in the coming days, I hope that we do see a, diplomatic solution. But I don't think I'm going to be holding my breath on it. Now, jumping more into it, President Trump talks about how everyone should keep oil prices down and that he is watching. Trump says, you're playing right into the hands of the enemy. Don't do it. Pretty much based off of how much oil imports are revolved around Iran and pretty much this whole fiasco that's going on. President Trump tells the U.S. Department of Energy, drill, baby, drill. And I mean now. Don't forget Trump's plan since day one has been lower inflation through lower oil prices. So this is another thing pretty much showing that, we're not wanting to rely on other countries, other places with oil, and that we want to start getting this initiated for the United States. And the main goal is to drive down inflation, which is in turn going to cause the economy to start performing much better. Now, then we just saw a update overall how predictions market now see a massive 92% chance of Iran meeting with U.S. before July, which is already in the next 7 days, guys, 7 to 8 days. So this is going to be letting us know this week, moving into next week, if we're going to be seeing more escalations with this whole, global economic situation that's causing all the markets to dump, or if we're going to be seeing, a little bit more of actual diplomatic solutions and everything kind of just carries out. So either get worse or you start to ease up, but we're going to have an answer by the beginning of July. Now, altcoins, guys, the altcoin market saw some crazy deviations over the weekend. We have a chart here from Crypto Intelligence X talking about the estimated moving average, 200-day estimated moving average, and a Fibonacci sequence, and currently the specific zone of interest, resistance zones, and what we're currently seeing. So it pretty much says, I think we'll see a bounce from this zone on Monday, open to close some weekend gaps. He talked about this yesterday, and he's kind of right. Right now, guys, we're already starting to see altcoins see a little bit of a correction, simply due to, the markets responding differently than the headlines and what we're currently seeing being pushed out. But as a result, guys, we're starting to see a little bit of a pump up, and hopefully that we can sustain this. But at the end of the day, we have specific zones to keep an update on, and I'm going to let you guys know if we break those or if we do not. Crypto Mitch now talks about how many altcoin charts are completely destroyed right now. This coming week is essentially to closely monitor the response to movements in Brent and gold. If gold doesn't continue to accelerate upwards, it would be a signal combined with more clarity on the Middle East. Extreme periods, extreme markets. So right now, guys, if gold doesn't continue to accelerate upwards, it would be a signal combined with more clarity on the Middle East that, conflicts are still arising. We need to see a correction in these charts and the correlation between these. And I've showed this on multiple different videos. So if you guys are just watching this video for the first time, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, because in further videos, I take you more in depth into other different things whenever we have more time. But right now, guys, this is currently what's going on for altcoins. Altcoins are getting obliterated, and we're keeping up with the price action around the gold price action chart to let us know exactly if we're going to be seeing more deviations, especially if we see more escalations with the Middle East. Now, Benjamin Cohen talks about how Bitcoin dominance created a new cycle high. So Bitcoin dominance is just on the rise. If you're a Bitcoin maxi, congratulations to you. You're sitting much nicer than a lot of other individuals. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I'm an altcoin person. So I am following the price action on Bitcoin dominance to see exactly when we're going to peak out and then potentially fall and crash all the way back down. I've showed you guys this multiple times, but I'm going to go ahead and just show it one more time if you're new to the channel. At some point, guys, Bitcoin dominance peaks out. And whenever Bitcoin dominance peaks out, that's whenever we start to see the actual chart switch liquidity back into altcoins. And that's exactly what I want to show you right now. I'm going to re-update this chart because it freaking froze on me. And then I'm going to show you exactly how Bitcoin dominance peaks out and then when liquidity moves. And it's mainly due to the fact that investors get bored, guys. Investors make a ton of money in Bitcoin, and then from there, they want to reallocate those gains into another asset. And this is where the money flow happens. I showed this multiple times on the channel, but pretty much it goes from, stocks and normal fiat into big major coins like Bitcoin, and then from Bitcoin into Ethereum, and then altcoins. You could see in the previous cycle, guys, Bitcoin dominance rallied all the way up to around that 73% and then crashed down significantly. And this is when altcoin season started back in 2021. And this is what we're waiting for in 2025. And I'm going to let you know when it happens. But Benjamin Cohen is just pushing about how Bitcoin dominance has made a new all-time high, and how a lot of people have been talking about how the altcoin market is an oscillator at best against Bitcoin. And he says being mad at the influencers who convinced you that altcoin season was coming is not going to help. Even me, guys, telling you that altcoin season is potentially on the horizon. At the end of the day, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. It says this chart has always shown you the most likely outcome. Just many lost patience and decided this time was different. And not necessarily lost patience and decided this time was different. Everyone is already allocated. You don't want to be sidelined, guys. If you're waiting for the best entry, like right now, if you got a good entry, congratulations, you're at a good entry. But if you're still waiting for that best entry and you don't buy in and then the markets pump up, then you're sidelined. And it doesn't matter if we see deviations, because unrealized losses aren't the same as realized losses. If you sell your bag, of course, you just lost out on a whole bunch of money because you sold and now you have no upside potential. But if you pretty much invest, see, those unrealized losses and just wait for liquidity to pour back, then you're going to be better off. And I think this chart really, speaks facts that you need to be focused on price action, not all the headlines and what everyone's telling you, but also don't feel so down in the dumps. A lot of us are super early, stupid early, but the way to actually capitalize on being early is by actually waiting and sticking through it. If you capitulate your bag, you sell out, and you try to get at a better position, more than likely, guys, you're going to keep losing. Do not do that. Keep dollar cost averaging and wait for price action to return. There's a lot of global events, a lot of things going on, so just wait. You have to be patient. Even Benjamin Cohen talks about it. Now, Spectator Index is just giving us consistent updates on exactly different missiles that are going into range, different conflicts that are taking places, negotiations that might be said, and a few other different things that are going on. And as a result, guys, we're just seeing consistent volatility in the markets, and that's why it's super important to keep up with the day-to-day information. Now, my crypto portfolio, guys, you can see that most of these assets are down on the 7-day, but look at the 24-hour. Hash AI is up 40%. And now some of y'all have invested into Hash AI and you're like, I'm not up 40%. This is where I tell you, you have to dollar cost average. Whenever these assets fall down very significantly, that's where you could have potentially put in another $200 to $300. And if it went up 40%, you're already another $180, just depending on how much you put in. This is where you can make crazy gains, guys, but you got to believe in the market when nobody else believes in it. And whenever we see assets jumping up 40%, 18%, 10% in a short period of time, that shows the strength behind the project as well. Conduct is looking a little weak right here, which I do not like to see, but I think a lot of people that don't believe in the project have already capitulated their bags, and now the only people holding it is the true actual believers. But guys, everything's swiped to the side. That is currently what is happening. We have some key events happening this week. Price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins are super volatile, and we're waiting for more information. We have some key data that's going to be coming out this week. Jerome Powell is going to be speaking this week. We're waiting for more updates from Iran, how they're going to be responding to the U.S. dropping bombs on their nuclear sites. So there's a lot of things happening, but putting everything to the side, guys, the best recommendation I can give to you is keep up with this info on this channel. I try to give you guys as much info as I can and hold your hand through all of it. So if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and how to position yourself. But right now, guys, is about patience. It's about dollar cost averaging into key assets, understanding how liquidity shifts, and just pretty much relaxing. Everyone else is just wanting price action to return back into their altcoins. They think it's the end of everything. They do not believe in anything, and they have a short time span in terms of their perspective and what they can see. You got to be able to see long term. That's why on that Bitcoin dominance chart I showed you, whenever we went back into 2021, it peaked out at 73%. Investors got bored, then started investing into Ethereum and altcoins and everything else. And I know a lot of us are super early to the punch. super early, so much that we're down 70 to 80%. And it's okay, guys. This is where you can dollar cost average, slowly decrease your entry point for that asset. And then whenever liquidity pours back, you are going to be sitting stupid nice. But this is where the strong are separated from the weak. I know a lot of y'all have already capitulated your bags or probably on the verge of capitulating your bags, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep dropping day-to-day content, let you guys know how liquidity is shifting, the news events you need to be aware of, and how I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm honestly not completely dollar cost averaging just yet because I want to see if there's going to be more escalations. I did throw a little bit of money into the market, but not a shebang. So I'm going to let you guys know when I'm throwing more money into the market after we see a little bit more updates this week. And then from there, I'm going to be making my move. But overall, if you're new to the channel, drop me a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think of my perspective. Let me know what you think of the content. And overall, exactly what you think is going to be happening with altcoins. Overall, though, I drop day-to-day content. So hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. Peace.